Levon Helm was in the right place at the right time. He saw the birth of rock and roll and, though he was too much of a gentleman to say it, his role in helping to keep that rebellious child healthy was more than just instrumental. On May 26, 1940, Mark Levon Helm was the second of 4 children born to Nell and Diamond Helm in Elaine, Arkansas. Diamond was a cotton farmer who entertained occasionally as a musician. The Helms loved music and often sang together. They listened to the Grand Ole Opry and Sonny Boy Williamson and his King Biscuit entertainers regularly on the radio. A favorite family pastime was attending traveling music shows in the area. According to his 1993 autobiography, This Wheel's on Fire, Levon recalled seeing his first live show, Bill Monroe and his Bluegrass Boys, at 6 years old. His description: "This really tattooed my brain. I've never forgotten it. Hearing performers like Monroe and Williamson on the radio was one thing. Seeing them live made a huge impression." Levon's father bought him his first guitar at age 9. At 10 and 11, whenever he wasn't in school or at work on the farm, the boy could be found at KFFA's broadcasting studio in Helena, Arkansas, watching Sonny Boy Williamson do his radio show, King Biscuit Time. Helm made his younger sister Linda a string bass out of a washtub when he was 12 years old. She would play the bass while her brother slapped his thighs and played harmonica and guitar. They would sing songs learned at home and popular hits of the day, and billed themselves as Levon and Linda. Because of their fresh-faced good looks, obvious musical talent and Levon's natural ability to win an audience with sheer personality and infectious rhythms, the pair consistently won talent contests along the Arkansas 4-H club circuit. In 1954, Levon was 14 years old when he saw Johnny Cash and Carl Perkins do a show at Helena. Also performing was a young Elvis Presley, with Scotty Moore on guitar, and Bill Black on stand-up bass. They did not have a drummer. The music was early jazz-fueled rockabilly, and the audience went wild. In 1955, he saw Elvis once more, before Presley's star exploded. This time Presley had DJ Fontana with him on drums and Black was playing electric bass. Helm couldn't get over the difference and thought it was the best band he'd seen. The added instruments gave the music solidity and depth. People jumped out of their seats dancing to the thunderous, heart-pumping rhythms. The melting pot that was the Mississippi Delta had boiled over and evolved. Its magnificently rich blues was uniting with all the powerful, new, spicy hot sounds and textures that became rock and roll. Natural progression led Levon to form his own rock band as a high school junior, called the Jungle Bushbeaters. While Little Richard and Jerry Lee Lewis were making teens everywhere crazed, Levon would practice, play, watch and learn. After seeing Jerry Lee's drummer Jimmy Van Eaton, he seriously began thinking of playing the drums himself. Around this same time, the 17-year-old musician was invited by Conway Twitty to share the stage with Twitty and his Rockhousers. He had met Twitty when Levon and Linda opened for him at a previous show. Helm was a personable, polite teen who took his music seriously, so Twitty allowed him to sit in whenever the opportunity arose. Ronnie Hawkins came into Levon Helm's life in 1957. A charismatic entertainer and frontman, Hawkins was gathering musicians to tour Canada, where the shows and money were steady. He had a sharp eye for talent. He needed a drummer and Levon fit the bill. Fulfilling a promise to Nell and Diamond to finish high school, Levon joined Ronnie and his Hawks on the road. The young Arkansas farm boy, once a tractor-driving champion, found himself driving Hawkins' Cadillac to gigs, happily aware that all the unknown adventures of rock and roll would soon be his destiny. In 1959, Ronnie got the Hawks signed to Roulette Records. They had 2 hits, 40 Days, and Mary Lou, sold 750,000 copies and appeared on Dick Clark's American Bandstand, 1952. Hawkins and Helm recruited 4 more talented Canadian musicians in the early 1960s: Richard Manuel, Rick Danko, Garth Hudson and Robbie Robertson. Under Ronnie's tutelage they would often perform until midnight and rehearse until 4 in the morning. Other bands began emulating their style. Now they were the ones to watch and learn from. Eventually the students surpassed their teacher. Weary of Ronnie's strict regulations and eager to expand their own musical interests, the 5 decided to break from Hawkins. They called themselves Levon and the Hawks. About 1965, Bob Dylan decided to change his sound. He was ready to go electric, and wanted Levon and the Hawks to help him fire it up. The boys signed on to tour with Dylan, but unfortunately Dylan's die-hard folk fans resisted. Night after night of constant booing left Levon without the pleasure of seeing his audience enjoy themselves. He called his drummer's stool the best seat in the house, because he could see his fellow musicians and his audience simultaneously. What pleased him most, always, was that his audience had a good time. He temporarily left the group and eventually landed back home in Arkansas. Dylan and the rest of the band took up residence in Woodstock, NY. They rented a large, pink house where they wrote and rehearsed new material. Danko called for Helm to join them when Capitol Records gave them a recording contract. Woodstock residents called them the band, so they kept the moniker. The name the band fit. The sound was no frills rock and roll, but far from simplistic. They fused every musical influence they were exposed to over the years as individuals and as a unit. The result was brilliant. Their development as musicians was perfected by years of playing. Living together at Big Pink allowed complete collaboration of their artistic expression. Americana and folklore themes, heart-wrenching ballads filled with naked emotion, majestic harmonies, hard-driving rhythms and exquisite instrumentation made critics, peers and fans realize that this music was unlike any heard before. Their first album, Music from Big Pink, released in July of 1968, made them household names, and as a result they were invited to appear on Ed Sullivan's The Ed Sullivan Show, 1948, in autumn of '69. Following Big Pink's success, the next album, called simply The Band, is considered by some as their masterpiece. They made 7 albums total, including one live recording in 1972, Rock of Ages. Many of their hits such as The Wait, W.S. Walcott's Medicine Show, and The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down, were spawned from stories of Levon's beloved South. Helm was working in Los Angeles in